2025 Rock and Roll Washington, D.C. This is going to be the half marathon course breakdown. This is getting recorded on probably mid-January here. And this is a early season race in the DMV, March 15th here. I don't care if you're watching this video at the end of January or if you're watching a couple days before the race. Make sure you are watching the weather and monitoring it. It will change. It can be different. I usually leave this every year that we do this. I usually leave these photos kind of scrolling here. This is one of my favorite ones. I realize, not this one. This one is one of my favorite ones. I realize it's the 5K here, but this is a good representation of what you can get. In here, you're seeing long sleeves, you're seeing tank tops, shorts, you're seeing tights, you're seeing pants, you're seeing pretty much every running outfit out here, attire-wise. You will see on race day. Okay, the weather is wild here. It is the best racing environment out here, but with that comes some challenges. So know what you're comfortable with, know what you've trained in, and know what you're prepared to do on race day before you show up, instead of making a oopsies out there on the start line. And again, going through some of the photos here, you can see again that's just you're seeing so many outfits. In the same photo, you're seeing long sleeves, tights, and in the next couple of runners up, you're seeing short sleeves. You're also seeing gloves. It's just a wide variety of what you get on race day. So before we dive into any other more specifics, make sure you are monitoring the weather. It will have a huge impact on this race. So this race does have two distances. It does have the 5K and the half marathon here. They start at different times here, so be aware of that. This is the main landing page. This is going to be where you can find some useful info also on the top banner as well. Couple of quick things to note. They have not listed the official start and the corrals and all that good stuff. So as it gets closer, make sure you're keeping an eye out for that. Make sure you're keeping an eye out on your email, because they do a great job of communicating with you before the race starts. So just make sure you are on top of that and they are not in your spam folder. Scrolling down here, you could see Tale of Races Past. Next really important thing that I want you to take note of, I'll scroll up for you, is the facts, frequently asked questions page. Make sure you are visiting this for any of the questions that you do have. Again, they do a really good job of things before the race. How do I change my estimated finish time or start corral? That answer is right here for you. What is the gear and baggage check? The answer right here for you. Again, those bags are going to be marked out alphabetical order, so you just go and drop your stuff off. Make sure you have the tag labeled on your bag, and then when you get done after the race, you go to the truck, that's your letter, and boom, there you go. There is your stuff, hopefully. Again, watch what you keep putting inside it, but make sure you are visiting the facts page, because it is very, very useful. For instance, is this event a USATF sanctioned race? And the answer is yes. All of the Rock and Roll Series events are in the US. So super cool stuff. And that is the facts page. This is our course breakdown, but before we do that, we need to address some other things. And again, this is all scrolling up. This is the participants tab in the website. This is the 2025 weekend schedule for you. Things do kick off on Thursday, March 13th. On that date from 12 to 7, you're going to have a couple of different things. The first is packet pickup. The second is the Health and Fitness Expo. They are both located in the same spot, Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Hall D. That's going to be a theme for the 13th and the 14th, where it is the exact same pattern. It just happens from 10 to 7 on the next day. Saturday, March 15th. Again, that 5K is starting at 7:45 a.m., 4th Street Northwest and Pennsylvania Ave. The half marathon starts at 8. That's going to start at Constitution Ave and 14th Street Northwest. Finish Line Festival happens at that time over there. There's the finisher concert. Really, really cool stuff. You can read more about the Health and Fitness Expo. You can also read more and look at all these bios of the ambassadors for the race. But we're going to get out of here. That is the course breakdown that we have put together. This is also their course that you click on, download the PDF, and you can zoom in, and we'll do that in a second here. This is the participant t-shirts, the swag. This is the half marathon and 5K shirts. Rolling down, these are the finisher medals for the half marathon and the 5K. Scrolling down even further, there is also a remix challenge for people doing both the 5K and the half marathon. If you want to read more about how to do that, you can do that as well. There's also the limited edition 100-mile medal. All of that good stuff is listed there. So going to our course. This is our start time, 8 a.m., right? Keep in mind you are going to have to get in their start corrals a little bit earlier than that, do your bag check, your bag drop off, all of that fun stuff. So just because the start time is 8, don't roll up at 7:50 and plan to just roll right into it. You do have to kind of go through some steps here. And again, the weather is going to play a bigger part than you want it to in this kind of waiting around time for you before the start. It's more annoying than it should be. It is the DMV, right? So you just have to be prepared, and that's going to be a motto for the rest of the day. Be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. You can see the start line and the finish line located over there. The 5K is going to be located right here. And if we do go up to the 5K, click that, it changes over, 7:45 earlier start time. You can see the start, you go up, you go down. This is our finish. And the half marathon start is happening right over here. Going back to our half marathon here, now let's kind of get into the nitty-gritty details for you. First off, the route that they have provided is listed right here. Also, the route that we have created is right here. These two routes are slightly different. The slight difference that you will notice is this, we are missing a little lollipop right here. Also, this road, it happens right here instead of the one over. It is pretty much an identical course except for those two features, so just keep that in mind. Rolling up back to this, since you do have the ability to download the PDF version, you can kind of scroll in and you can read useful information like things like this: water stations plus mortal, the feed. Mortal endurance is going to be at every other water station. So it's something to keep track of. So with that, this is kind of our first insight out here on race day. So first aid station is going to be listed, if I can get my things together here, right there. That's the first one. Second one that's going to have that mortal hydration is going to be right there, right before mile marker number 3. The third aid station, which is not going to have anything except for water, is going to be right there. The fourth one that is going to have the mortal located right there at about 6.3 miles, which we can get into a little bit more in a minute. The next one is right here. This one is going to have the mortal hydration if that's what you're into, a little bit after 10 miles out on race day, and that's going to be the last one with mortal, or as it is written right now. So that is something to plan ahead of time and be prepared for before you get to race day. Another super important area is the feed zone right here. That is the feed gel station right here. That's going to be associated with that aid state or that water stop listed right there. That's going to be a question that you should ask on race day. Is that the station that is going to have the mortal hydration, or is that just the gels? So it's water plus gels at this location. Great question to ask in the days leading up to it. I'm sure they are going to be peppering you with emails. They're, again, usually almost always really, really good about it. And then the band locations are going to be everywhere that has that red circle with an R in the middle. I believe it's every mile you do have a band, maybe slightly more frequent here when they can. And you're going to have a lot of opportunities to hear a lot of awesome stuff. So the race start, let's dive into some specifics for you. Quick thing to note here, it's very flat up right through these first 7.25, 7.5 miles here. And then there is, of course, a huge elephant in the room, which, yes, we will address. And then after that, this section over here is a slightly rolling downhill towards your finish line. That is a super nitty-gritty or super quick nutshell. We are going to get a little more nitty-gritty here. For instance, this first mile right here is a steady uphill drag. Again, nothing super crazy. And of the, let's call it 450 feet of elevation gain here for the first 1.3 miles, you are gaining a whopping 23 feet of elevation. Pretty straightforward here. Nothing really to write home about twisting, turny-wise or elevation-wise. But the thing that is noteworthy here, first thing is you are going to be hooking up, over, back down, right through here. You can see that on the course map here. But the biggest thing to take note of is the fact that you are going to be in a corral. You're going to be surrounded by a lot of people, and you likely will not be able to run the race that you want to for this first mile. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get kind of annoyed. Do not let that happen to you. If you are released at the front of your wave, it's going to be a little bit of a different story, but for everyone else, that's pretty much what you're going to get out on race day. So just be prepared to not be able to run what you really want to in that first mile. Coupled with the fact that it is slightly uphill, you can exert a lot of unnecessary effort in this first mile. Be very, very mindful. Be very, very careful of what's happening. I realize it's an extra 2 or 3 things to be keeping track of, and that's not what you want to do in this first mile, but it will pay huge dividends later on, believe me. Next big thing that we need to talk about is running around the circle. You go run across the bridge, you run around the monument, you come back again. Be very careful there. It is it's very deceivingly difficult here. You are, let's zoom in so everyone can see here. During this section here, you are exposed out here on the bridge, right? If it's windy or it's slightly windy, it's going to be a little bit more coming off of the water right there. If it's raining or gusty, you're going to feel that a little bit more on the bridge right here. You're going to get a brief reprieve from it running around there, and then when you go back over the bridge again, then things kind of, you get hit again with all of that. Just be careful. Be very, very careful with how you place your effort on race morning. It's not uncommon for athletes to go back over the bridge and have a oh crap moment when they get about halfway here and say, oof, I think I've overdone it a little bit. You're about 2.5 miles into the race here, so it does sneak up on you if you let it. Okay. Looking at our official tracker here, the 2-mile marker happens right before you finish crossing the bridge on the first time. Loop around the monument, and then you're back over here. Mile 3 happens right at this aid station right over there. Going back to our page, it's going to happen right around here. Excuse me, right around there. Again, there's nothing really major to write home about this, except for the extra stuff. As you get off of the ramp again, there's going to be more of an opportunity for spectator presence to happen during this section, up through mile, let's call it 3-ish, right there. You get back across the bridge, you're running, you just conquered that, and so at this point, you are able to run. You should have been able to run for about a mile and a half at your speed right now that you want to run at. So there shouldn't be any problems there. The problem lies when you get back off the bridge is you're just surrounded by a wall of energy again. And a lot of people take that energy, bottle it up, and just use it immediately. What I would do is take that energy and store it for later. A lot of people forget about fueling up until this point. A lot of people just blow right past this aid station and just ignore everything still. We are 3 miles in, so it's not very far. We do have 10 miles more to go, and most people will be able to run 3 miles easy peasy. But the pre-race jitters are going to be worn off at this point. Depending on how hard you did, you're probably going to need to refuel. You're going to need to top yourself off again. So just be careful with what you are doing up until this point. As you continue onwards, right, it does get a little bit messy here from a course perspective. There's a lot of doubling back, there's zigging, there's zagging, you go up, you go down, you go back up again. And this section can kind of eat at a lot of people's souls. They want to keep going, and then you just feel like you're going nowhere is a good place to describe this section. You're running far, at this point. Once you get out of this section, you're at about 5.5, 6 miles into the race. And so, you feel like you should have gone a lot further than, geographically you have gone. And when that happens in your brain, you just want to keep pushing the pace, and you keep going and you keep going. And that continues for a lot of people up until you get to the biggest hill on the course right through here. Again, 445 feet of elevation gain of our 1.5 miles that is highlighted in blue here. We do experience 177 feet of that elevation gain. The max gradient of 8.5% exists here. We do have 4 feet of elevation loss, which happens later on. But this is the major jumping point of our race. A lot of people are going to see this hill and say, I'm going to attack that hill with everything I got. I'm going to save, 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 and attack. And really, that's not what you want to do out on this course. What you really want to do is maintain. That's a bad arrow. Maintain here, right? And then in terms of effort, right, you kind of want to do that, and then slowly start to pick it up, slowly start to pick it up. And then once you get this hill, you want to maintain again, right? Maintain that energy or that the effort level. And then once you get over this hill, you should be able to maintain that effort level that you had before or slightly raise it for the remainder of the race. But a lot of people take this hill and say, all right, this is the one that matters. I'm going to absolutely put my stamp on it. And you can do that. Go ahead. But you're going to run into issues here if you unload everything on this hill. And it happens every year. People fly up it. They're feeling good. And then when they hit another hill, they pop. That's it. And they got 3.5 miles more to go. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. The other major issue that you have on this course here, and I guess we can kind of continue rolling here and just address it as we're talking about it. This hill continues once everyone thinks it ends, right? There's a little bit of a break, and then it keeps going up again. So as you are at this point here, you're at about 150 feet of elevation. You continue to go up another of about 50 feet from that mile to 7.8 up to 8.8 miles here. This is another critical section, and in my mind, this section right here is more critical than this major hill up here because it's going to hurt. You're going to get up it. Don't crush this thing. But if it takes you up until this point to kind of recover based off of what you just did, right? Obviously, you can see that this distance is a lot less than this distance, right? So if you can maintain or get back to running faster once you get back to this point in time, you're going to have a lot more success in this race than just totally crushing this hill. So now that we're past that, we could talk about the last couple of miles here, and let's just highlight them really fast. Again, there's one road that is placed 1 block over here for the official race course map, but that's not going to change things at all in this breakdown. What you see here is a rolling descent, 4.5 miles of 82 feet of elevation, or excuse me, 267 feet of elevation loss, and we do have 82 feet of elevation gain here. This is going to be where you put the stamp on the course, right? This is going to be where you let gravity kind of take you here, but this is also where a lot of people let it go away from them. Their form just totally breaks down. By the time they hit this 11-mile marker here, their quads are really, really burning. They've used up all this energy here, and it's chunky in here. So you're still going to have to do a fair bit of work here. Don't take this as this is just rolling downhill and you can kind of cruise and your effort level is really over after you climb. That is not true. It is a rolling hill, so there's still going to have to be a little bit of effort still in here. But that form becomes a little more critical, in my opinion, during this section here. A lot of athletes just let it slide out. And when that happens, you get that Boston effect in your legs, and it starts to cramp in the quads. This is where you see a lot of athletes just really start to kind of, tense up. They get it in the quads and the calves, and they kind of don't make it. Watch that running form, and I personally would almost take a little bit of a slower time here, maybe like 2 or 3 seconds per mile, if I know that I'm running soundly down some of these steady downhills, and you can maintain that. A lot of people are going to go a little bit faster and then slow down once they get to about 11.5-ish miles because it starts to peter off a little bit, and you have to start running on a flat road here. At 11.5, there's still 1.5 miles left of our race. There's a good chunk of distance that you do need to cover before you finish here. So don't totally overdo it. And then that flat section here, yeah, go nuts. Once you hit let's call it 11.75 or even 12. Yeah, go for it. A mile left. So that is the course breakdown in a nutshell. A couple things that I would just kind of ask them or just pay attention to in the next weeks is is the nutrition partner going to be released soon? If it is just a mortal hydration, I would start practicing with mortal hydration now. Believe it or not, I realize that we're recording this the 20th of January here. I realize it's then, but if you could start getting accustomed to that in your system, do it now. If you are planning on running with some of your nutrition for race day, start practicing it now. You need to start practicing what works, what doesn't. If something doesn't work, it's time to go back to the drawing board. And I mean, everyone messes up once or twice, but if it consistently is happening, right, there's a nutritional issue with you, and you need to figure that out before race day. Don't wait for the last week or two to kind of nail things down. It should be already done and dusted by then, nutritionally, and, and then you can kind of do all the other fun stuff that you need to do after that. So that is the 2025 course breakdown. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to reach out. If you need any consults leading up to the race, I'm always happy to help you guys out. And good luck to everyone racing this 2025 edition DC Rock and Roll, best place to race in the world. Good luck, everyone.